just reminding you, we have t-shirts in the shop. Just go to pgttcm.com. Check out all of our cool t-shirts and stickers. Heck, we even got some shelf curtains in there. Keep clean, look cool, have cool stickers to put on stuff. Join us on Patreon, get a free sticker. Or don't. It's up to you.
You're listening to KZOM, Oleander Public Radio.
Greetings, listeners. It is I, D.B. Spitzer, Informer Dave, here once again to talk to you about the Cthulhu mythos, its books, its monsters, its unfortunate human casualties, its timeline in general, and even its tangential bits, like the dreamlands or things of a weird nature that are Lovecraftian leaning. Once more we head into those dark woods, further feeling those malevolent forces upon us. Once again we walk down the lightless stone staircase in the middle of nowhere.
You're listening to KZOM.
Hey everyone, it's me, DB Spitzer, and on my virtual right, yes, right this week, Dave, how are you doing? Farmer Dave, everyone, Farmer Dave.
I feel that I am on the right side today.
Good.
I was thrown off all last week because I was on the left side.
Yeah. And, no. So you're on my stage left, but yeah, you're right. And we're having a good recording on a Sunday. It's the nicest it's been in Oleander in, I don't know, I want to say like early September. And it's just nice. It's still cold as heck out. I'm wearing like 4 flannel shirts, but
and there's ice on the ground in the morning.
Yeah, there's ice on the ground. I imagine you have to bust the water for the goats in the morning.
Yeah.
No, it's a icy thing. Barbacoa and Dusseldorf like to, and I've had to yell at them about it. Not like yell, but be like, hey, you guys need to get to school. Knock it off right now. But they've been running and sliding through the cemetery because of all the grass, and they can just slide on the frosty silver parts. And Dusseldorf is like, I didn't go to school breakfast because I licking frost off of leaves, and I'm like, that's not breakfast. You need to go to school to get breakfast. Well, second breakfast, because, I mean, those kids are hobbits. They,
yes.
They're growing children. They eat breakfast here, and then they eat breakfast there. But yeah, it's been frosty. And have you been up to anything new lately?
Nothing. I got my new Hawaiian shirt that I'm going to wear for John Prom Day, and
oh, cool.
That's about it.
Yeah, I have a ton of Hawaiian shirts that I've had forever. I'm just going to pull one out at random, something out of the Ken Hite selection, I believe. And just going to...
Ken Hite, for men of action.
Yeah. No, Ken Hite action wear. And it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. We've got the pineapples ready, and totally unrelated. Oh man, did I get almost no sleep last night? And this is out of nowhere, but I taught myself how to play piano last night, and then stayed up all night playing piano. It's just a weird thing that happened, but it's like, oh, I kind of know how to play guitar. I wonder if I can kind of learn how to play piano. So I taught myself how to kind of play piano last night. So, yeah, that was interesting.
Were you using the Eric Zahn way of music theory?
Yeah, I used the Eric Zahn playing a day book, and oh man, I'll tell you what, that Zahn knows what he's talking about. But yeah, no, just was like busting out some Steely Dan and Dead Milkmen and Butthole Surfers, and I was like, this is easy. Music's easy. Why do people... But, it's not good, but it's easy. So, speaking of easy, what are we talking about today that's not that easy to talk about?
So we are talking about a couple of things.
Oh, good.
The Elder Things and Eihort.
Ooh.
Or Eihort.
Eihort?
Eihort.
I've
Eihort,
always
Eihort, we
I've
all
always said
vote
Eihort.
for Eihort.
I hear it so many different ways. If we ask the head of Actionware, Ken Hyde Actionware himself, I'm sure he would give us a different name than Robin D. Laws. But
Maybe we should ask Ramsey.
Oh yeah. We're supposed to talk to Ramsey Campbell at some point in time.
Hoping to soon. So
Me too.
But
So let's we're talking about elder things in Eihort or Eihort this week. Whoa.
that's how you say it in the ancient language of the roosters.
Yeah, thanks, Ralph. Okay, so Eihort it is. Let's see. Let's talk about that Eihort thing. What is it? I mean, it's like a big egg on legs.
Yes, and so there's several different versions. But yeah, you'll see if you go in, a lot of it is sort of this like multi-eyed sort of giant egg with a bunch of legs. And it's mentioned in Ramsey Campbell's The Franklin Paragraphs. But I think the only really story that he's mentioned in, or really is the center of it, is Before the Storm.
Okay, all right.
Now, this is part of Ramsey Campbell's Severin, mythos. So, if you're one real sort of source of him, it is the Chaosium, supplement for England.
Goatswood?
Goatswood and Lesser Things.
Yeah.
So he's, of course, the source of book to find out about him, as well as all sort of Ramsey Campbell creatures, is the Revelations of Glaki.
Ooh, yeah.
Glaki, I guess it's pronounced Glaki.
Sure, yeah. Revelations of Glaki. That's the book. It's Ramsey Campbell's Necronomicon. It's his cult of ghouls. It'll tell you who's where and what they're up to and what, I mean, I don't think the book says don't read this last book or you'll get Yagullan act, but some good old Yagullan action.
Yes. So one of the things that Eihort is, I think, sort of different from the typical Lovecraftian, outer god, is Eihort gives you a choice.
Yeah.
And Eihort will either kill you
or kill you.
or basically inject you, whether you're male or female, where you become, part of its brood, where basically your body turns into these sort of multi-legged spider things.
Yeah.
And if you want to lose some sanity points, they're one of the first Chaosium source books. Outer God has a picture of somebody breaking into all these spiders. It's just literally, you're going to lose some sanity points looking at that game supplement.
Yeah.
but the thing I was thinking about is, Eihort here, he gives you a choice.
Yeah.
Cthulhu wouldn't give you a choice.
No.
The deep ones don't.
No.
And what I think is that the difference between Ramsey Campbell and Lovecraft, but I have a theory, and this is all head canon. But so a couple of theories have come up. One is the Eihort, these brood, they're sort of become these spiders, and then they hide until human race is pretty much wiped off the face of the earth.
Sure, yeah.
And to Eihort, when I first thought about this, basically force monster impregnation, I thought Xenomorphs, right?
Yeah.
So Xenomorphs are, and I think they're mentioned is in Franklin Papers predates Alien, but the story that really talks about them before the storm comes after the first Alien.
Okay.
So I don't know if Ramsey Campbell was influenced or just a separate.
Sure.
But, Aliens, so Alien, the Xenomorphs, it sort of either kills you and takes you for biomass, or it impregnates, the human or whatever animal.
Yeah.
It makes the choice.
Yeah.
Eihort lets the victim choose.
Yeah.
And it's not, so I'm trying to think of sort of this alien realism. And I think the Eihort just thinks this is his great honor.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to be part of this great thing that's going to live past the human race, then it doesn't want you.
Yeah. And that's definitely true. That's definitely true. That is horrifying, to say the least, to be given the choice of, be a brood of Eihort or die. I couldn't fathom that choice. But the thing that, I keep thinking about the biomass. And
so here's another thought I have.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go for it.
So we know that the brood of Eihort basically hides until human race is wiped off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
We know of one other creature.
Yeah.
And that is the sort of roach-like creatures that the Yithians are going to possess.
Oh, the beetle philosophers? Yeah.
So, are they the same?
I don't know. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I mean, that would be kind of
the
funny.
Same niche.
Yeah.
Are they the niche?
Oh, you keep breaking up there,
Yeah,
Dave.
so, I was thinking for a second, I was thinking maybe Eihort is got this sort of sacred duty. Maybe it knows it's not being just monstrous. It knows that the great race needs some sort of body, if not to live in and possess, to eat or coexist with.
Sure.
Maybe from this very alien way that this creature that we can't even decide how to pronounce, it is preserving life on Earth.
Interesting.
Because the human race is just sort of this waste.
Yeah.
It knows the human race is going to die off.
Yeah.
And so it's not evil.
No. Well, it's hard to say. It's hard to project evil onto the elder thing, or not elder things, great old ones. And I was going to say, this is like one of the lesser great old ones there are. It's like physically not that large in comparison to others. And what it does is it just creates more of itself. And I question this, like, are there more Eihorts somewhere else that are like, I'm Eihort, die or become part of my brood? And it's just like, we just know of the one in Severn Valley. We don't know of the one in Beijing. We don't know of the one underneath Denver, Colorado. We don't know about the one over in Egypt. We don't know about the one in Johannesburg. We don't know about the one in Tanzania or Tasmania or anywhere.
Or the town that you're listening to right now.
I feel like Oleander could have an Eihort. That explain a few things.
It could.
Yikes. Anyway.
But so if all these creatures are really some sort of form of alien, except for maybe Azathoth, then it makes sense that there are multiple Eihorts. That it really is. And what if the brood of Eihort? What if it's not even its children, more of it's like creation? What if Eihort's like a biologist?
Yeah. Or I was thinking,
and it's making the same way humans would like split DNA.
Yeah, and I was thinking maybe it's just a simple kind of like reproduction, asexual reproduction, that it just, it needs a host, and I don't know, for its parasitic reproduction. I don't know. It's pretty interesting stuff, Eihort. I feel like there's a limited scope of what you can do, but within that scope, it seems pretty crazy of what you could do with Eihort. I know we're not doing D&D on D&D, but I could see like maybe a spider cult being offended by this blasphemous thing and sending adventurers out to go take care of them, or someone being like, oh yeah, my brother disappeared in these sewers underneath this weird little town. Can you go find them? They got a job as a rat catcher. Anyway, we're not doing D&D on D&D. I think we're done talking about Eihort, unless there's anything else you can come up with.
I think we really have, and like I said, other than the Chaosium books, and the rumors of Ralph, as he's warning us that the Eihort's coming up, I really think that it's not. It's well known because of Chaosium.
Oh yeah.
That Campbell, best of my knowledge, Campbell really only showcases them in Before the Storm.
Sure.
So I think that it's this lesser known. Unfortunately, if you are planning on writing, I mean, if you're doing a game, and then no one really cares for your friends, but I'm pretty sure Eihort is still under copyright.
Yeah.
But like Cthulhu and stuff.
Oh, sure.
But just that idea of a body all of a sudden becoming skeleton, going from the human biomass to the brood biomass.
Yeah.
That is, and that you don't or a creature doesn't completely die while that's happening. That is just this incredible mind-warping imagery.
Yeah, and if you have any ideas, if you want to talk to us about how to use Eihort or anything like that, message us. We'll hook you up with something. And all right, everyone, thank you so much. That was Dave's Corner of the Podcast. Up next, we are going to do that interview part. Dave, who are you talking to this week?
So we're talking to Noah Bundy.
Okay.
And Noah is a movie producer.
Oh, cool.
Or creator, and he is making a version of The King in Yellow.
Ooh. Neato. Cool. We'll check that out. And after that, we are going to be talking about some elder things in D&D on D&D, or how to Cthulhu up your RPG. All right. We'll see you in a few.
Thank you once again for listening to People's Guide to the Cthulhu Mythos. You can help show your support by going to the show notes and following any of the links that'll tell you how to support the show and how to support our guests. And thank you to all of our guests who you can find in the show notes. Rate, review, subscribe, and remember, patrons get priority access to asking us questions, suggesting topics, even, submitting stuff. Actually, you don't have to be a patron to submit anything. That's how Dave got on the show, and that's how you can get on the show too. It's the People's Guide to the Cthulhu Mythos. Rate, review, subscribe, tell your friends. Thank you for listening. Back to the show.
This Thursday.
All right. Thank you.
So, one of the advantages of not doing it live is DB is a great editor. So if you guys maybe go down to a path, or if you sneeze or something, you can always say, hey, oops, I didn't mean to do that. And you're pretty sure he's going to cut it out for you. He won't do it for me, but he'll do it for you. So normally, like I said, I'll just sort of introduce you, and then who you are, and then you can sort of give the details, and then we'll go into the interviews. And when I send this over, afterwards, we're going to be doing sort of the other parts of the show for next Thursday and a little bit today. I'll send DB the Indiegogo link.
Okay. So do you know like what's the full episode like kind of gonna be like? Just curious.
Yeah. So we are talking about Elder Things and Eihort.
Okay.
Which is, so we're kind of doing an alphabetical order. Yeah, we're into the E's, and like I said, we're going to be recording that probably about an hour or so. So I'm not sure exactly the details. I've got some things,
All right.
and he'll do some things, and we'll do at least some on how to use them in like role-playing games.
Right.
But yeah, that's going to be the rest of the show. But we also sometimes just go off script. Like last week, we finished up what we were talking about and went on and talked about the Book of Boba Fett. So.
Oh yeah, I've been watching that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't that impressed with the first episode, but the second one had me hooked.
Yeah, I think it's like it's going like interesting places now. I think like it's like it took a while, but I think it's starting to get like really good now.
Yeah, exactly. They told a story that I'd seen in my head so many times, and now it's into the new stuff. Okay, so yeah, if you have any questions, just let us know. But I'm going to go ahead and start the interview.
All right.
So this is the part where I talk to somebody that's not me and not DB. And we are really lucky today that we have Noah Bunyan. Noah, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, I'm Noah Bunyan, and I'm directing an upcoming feature film adaptation of The King in Yellow, the Robert W. Chambers story collection.
Excellent. And most of our fans are pretty familiar with Chambers and his influence on Lovecraft. But how did you first come across Chambers, but also The King in Yellow?
Well, Chambers, I came across through Lovecraft. Like I heard of him through that route. Basically, through sort of just kind of the cultural kind of osmosis, just like kind of wanting to learn more about kind of the world of Lovecraft through various kind of avenues, like like the movies, the podcasts, the stories themselves. And I kind of got introduced to The King in Yellow as a concept, and it was something that immediately fascinated. It immediately fascinated me. I started a bit. We could cut that, or I don't know. It immediately fascinated me just because of how different and weird it was, even in the world of Lovecraft.
Yeah. So, is this movie? Is it a pretty much strict retelling of The King in Yellow, the original story, or is this a new interpretation, or is this about the play?
It is. It's pretty much an adaptation of the first 4 stories of the King in Yellow book, which are the ones that mainly tie into the yellow sign and the play and all that mythology. It's actually it's interesting because after those first 4 stories, it kind of veers off into a different direction that isn't kind of weird fiction horror. It's but like those first 4 stories, those are the King in Yellow related ones.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So, especially sort of, I love the repairer reputations.
Yes, me as well.
And that's almost, if I had to, it's obviously weird fiction, but if I had to compare it to anything else, I would say that's 1920s cyberpunk. It was talking about the near future, what the world might be. So is this set in sort of the universe of the repairer reputations or a more modern version?
We are sort of we're sort of set in a modern, like, 2022 world, but we try to keep things ambiguous a bit. Like, we're trying to sort of imply things, like in our version of Repair of Reputations. There is kind of an unreliable narrator element where we're making it subjective in a way, where certain things will get mentioned, like in the story, and you're not sure, sort of, is this the actual world this story is set in, or is this a delusion of the main character in that story, Hildred Castaigne?
I love that trope.
Yeah.
I love the unreliable narrator. You know, is he crazy or are you? Or I love that trope.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a great trope. It's something I'm really enjoying working with.
Now, and in a lot of ways, and this is just my opinion, I think Chambers is, at least to me, a more visual writer than Lovecraft, and other people definitely get these very specific visualizations from Lovecraft. But in both cases, I would imagine they're kind of hard to put into something like a movie. How do you do that?
So I think, yes, one of the big difficulties with getting Lovecraft or Lovecraftian or just weird fiction like onto film, it's translating the concepts. It's you have all those surreal images, and you either have to be very creative with it or have like a huge budget. But like, I think a lot of the time, since Lovecraft is starting to become big now, but for decades it was not the case. And I think Lovecraftian movies have been a sort of a niche, low budget thing for a lot of their existence. And I think from that adversity, you kind of get a lot of cool and interesting creative things getting made because of how sort of trying to figure out how to translate these things to the screen in a creative and interesting way that creates the same or a similar effect it would have on like the written page. Or you could go the easy way out and just put a bunch of tentacles everywhere, which some people like to do.
You know, definitely. And I think there's a lot of people out there who think tentacles equal Lovecraft, and that's not necessarily true.
Yeah.
Now, how did you've told us a little bit about how you found Chambers? How did you learn, or how did you first learn about Lovecraft?
I think it's I knew what Lovecraftian was before I knew what Lovecraft was. Is the way I put it. My first exposure to him actually was probably the old movies, like the Reanimators, From Beyond, Unnameable, Castle Freak type of films. And from the movies, I sort of tried to explore more like where does this stuff come from? I want to get into this because this seems like a really interesting world. I want to know more. And now I've got right next to me a stack of weird fiction Lovecraft books on my desk. So I've gotten into it. Like
got into the source.
Yeah, the source.
So for me, when I grew up in a coastal town in California called Oxnard, California. And the Oxnard, California library, it had 2 copies of Arkham House. I don't even know which ones. I called them the tan one and the burgundy one. And somehow my mom came across these, and she said, "Oh, you got to read these. These are just amazing." So it was actually my mom who introduced me to Lovecraft.
Oh wow.
Now, what? Maybe just another sort of thought though. What is? So you were introduced to sort of Lovecraft through the movies. Are there any other non-Lovecraftian horror movies that maybe reach into your film writing and filmmaking?
I mean, it's I love there's definitely the Italian kind of films from like the 70s and 80s are always something like
Like
kind of
Suspiria?
yes, just those very dreamlike, colorful atmospheres where it's sort of it's more you're experiencing the movie than watching it.
Sure.
And also there's David Lynch is something I'm a fan of. Twin Peaks is a
Okay.
show I love. And then just kind of I mean, what got me into film in the first place, I'd say, is the Universal monsters, the classics, the very sort of big, like kind of operatic kind of the Frankensteins and the Draculas.
The thing from the Black Lagoon, or the creature from the Black Lagoon.
I love that movie. That movie, it's one of my favorite movies, Creature from the Black Lagoon.
And which, nobody has ever successfully, to my knowledge, been able to tie a Lovecraftian connection, but that so seems to me like, Dagon and the Shadow over Innsmouth. Do you find that the Lovecraft, or not? I mean, the Universal movies are influence your movie making?
I think with the performances, maybe, because I do love a big kind of a solid classical kind of performance, like
almost theatrical.
Theatrical, yes. With I'd say, yeah, in that respect.
Oh, excellent. And I would assume that that because the play The King in Yellow is so essential to the plot line, that a surrounding it with a theatrical directing and acting style would be very effective.
Yeah, I would agree. It's definitely something I've put a lot of thought into, and I think this film is going to come out as something very interesting, very unique, just through the combination of these different elements into something unique.
Excellent. Now, we know that you're probably really deep into this right now, but once you're finished, if there was any one artistic project, any type of medium, don't have to worry about copyrights, don't have to worry about a budget, what's your dream project?
Oh, that's a difficult question. I'd say if I'm sticking to, I think just to tie it in, I'll stick to a Lovecraft sort of thing. I think Rats in the Walls, I think, is a great Lovecraft story. Just sort of that kind of the dread it creates, and that house, the priory in it, and just the implications of the world underneath the house.
One of the scariest things I think Lovecraft wrote, and it's almost a throwaway line, is when they realized that the tunnels were dug up, not down, in that story.
Yes, I love that line.
It's just that's just sort of this thing. It's not like a jump scare. It's there. That's a fear that sort of festers inside you.
Yeah, it's just it's so almost kind of like it's uncanny. It's like the sort of these casual, inexplicable horrors of that story works so well.
Absolutely. So let's say that somebody is interested. I know that you're doing some finishing up with your movie. How can people listening now support your movie? And we'll include some links too.
Oh, well, we are actually doing a crowdfunding campaign for the film right now to get some money for some locations and some costumes and various other aspects like we would need for the rest of the production. And so that is something we are doing, and we just started running it earlier this week. And it is we're also looking into kind of grants from film groups and that kind of thing, but specifically crowdfunding is the way we're going forward at the moment to try and raise some additional funding for the latter portion of the movie that we haven't yet shot.
Yeah, so just looking what I saw, and it seems to me that you've got quite a bit done already.
Yeah, I'd say we have more than half of the film complete.
Excellent. And we will, for those who are listening now, will include these links into this show, and it's going to be from the time we release this. You have about 3 weeks or so to help contribute. Anything else maybe you'd like to say in closing?
Just it was check out the crowdfunding, and it was a pleasure to be on this show. Like I enjoyed the interview process. So
well, thank you, and I am really excited about when you're ready to release this to have you on again.
Oh, I look forward to that.
Excellent. Thank you. That's a great interview. Oh, and now Ralph goes off. I don't know if you just heard him.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but that was a great interview. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, and we'll post it up on that DB, but I'm pretty sure this is going to be on the next week's show, which he will either release Wednesday night or Thursday during the daytime. But we'll set you out and let you know.
All right. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. It's been my pleasure.
Hey everyone, it's me, DB. New sponsor on the show, Glary. Glary offers a great price and better quality goods and services for music lovers. Are you looking for good prices, free shipping, 100% quality guarantee? Glary's got you covered. Guitars, bass guitars, mandolins. They've got saxophones, trumpets, drums. They've got guitar cases, amplifiers, all the stuff that you need without having to break the bank. Inexpensive doesn't have to mean cheap. Check out the show notes to find more about Glary. 20-watt amplifiers for under $50. Hard cases for your electric guitar for under $80. Guitars themselves for under $90. Come on, folks, check out the show notes. Get a Glary. This episode is brought to you by California Tea House. California Tea House is a family-owned tea store where you can find some of the world's best loose-leaf tea and organic herbal tea blends. Like a fine wine, there is no comparison between fine loose-leaf and common broken-leaf tea bags. So, check them out. Check them out. They have quite a bit of pretty awesome tea collections. I'm a huge fan of their white teas. They have a tea club that you can join, but, they've got green tea, black tea, white tea, oolong, that Robios and herbal tea. They've also got teaware. So check out California Tea House in the show notes. Hello, everyone. How are you doing? I hope that break was good for you. I got to get up, stretch my legs, do some calisthenics, drink a cup of coffee. That coffee was Copper Cow coffee. You knew that was coming. And, I relaxed and I thought about elder things and went, they were scientists just like us. They were men. And they deserved good coffee, but so did Dyer, Lake, and all those guys. But unfortunately, they didn't have good coffee. They had not Copper Cow. The Copper Cow ad is over, and if you check in the show notes, you can see how to save some money with Copper Cow. Dave, we are talking about Elder Things in your D&D game, or my D&D game, or that person over there who's listening, that person on the bus who's listening, that person who's making dinner who's listening, your campaign. And I just want to say, Elder Things are awesome for RPGs. It's I don't know. It's the story in which they come from is like an adventure. It's like they're set up to be monsters or not monsters. It's like you could even play a game as these guys. But let's talk about the Elder Things for a moment before we really just start talking about them.
So a couple of thoughts before we get too far into gaming.
Yeah.
So my first experience with the Elder Things was actually sort of pre-Lovecraft.
Was it
really
Barlow's Guide to Extraterrestrials?
Yes, which was a book that I checked out of the library. Ralph loves it too. About every 3 months is Wayne Barlow's Guide to Extraterrestrials.
That book was always checked out, and I never got to check it out. Until years later, I found a copy of it on a friend's shelf, and I was like, whoa! But yeah.
And Barlow refers to them as the old ones.
Yeah. Is wrong.
well, and I think there's a couple mentioned in it where it says that Abdul Al-Hazarat calls them the old ones.
Yeah.
But so that's my first, and it's a very visual book. And anyone is, you can go on and just type in, Wayne Barlow's Guide to Extraterrestrials, and Elder Thing. You can see the very eggplant colored creature. And it is my real introduction to what the trope we call the starfish-headed alien.
Yeah.
This alien that is so alien that Lovecraft cornered the market on. And one thing, Lovecraft still lived at a time that they thought that ether possibly exists in space.
Yeah.
So, if you're doing science fiction, who cares? But Barlow sort of changed it, and it was no longer ether. It was solar winds that they traveled on.
Okay. Cool.
That was my first, and it was a very striking visual experience with the Elder Things. The other thing is that in S.D. Joshi's The Rise and Fall and Rise of the Cthulhu Mythos.
Yeah.
I was reading, he says, it is the Elder Things that imprison Cthulhu and, the Starspawn.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, Josh, no, wait a minute. Because all these years, I've been told from this Delothian heresy that it was, the Elder Gods. So what I did, I was at work, but when I got home later, I got a PDF of Mountains of Madness, and I typed in Elder, and he's absolutely right. Lovecraft says it was the Elder Things that trapped the Cthulhu and the Starspawn.
Oh. Well, there's a mystery I've been wondering for a while.
Yeah, so and apparently, and maybe we need to talk to Mr. Joshi himself or Ken Hite.
Sure.
But this idea that the Elder Gods are noted, that's derelict.
Okay.
But yeah, so when I ran through Project Gutenberg's version of Mountains of Madness, I type in the Elder Gods, I think are mentioned a couple times, but they're almost always talking about Zeus and Osiris as man-made gods.
Yeah.
And it's definitely the Elder Things that trapped the Starspawn.
Okay.
and imprison them in Earth. So that means these are some really powerful creatures.
Yeah.
That if they can trap Cthulhu here on the Earth.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, and that could have been before their degeneracy began. As Lovecraft speaks, that you can tell that artistically they became degenerates, and my thought has always been, or art styles changed, technology changed.
True.
They went from drawing things on walls to walking around with handheld tablets, and it wasn't as big of a visual language wasn't as much of a thing anymore because they had a different type of language. Or I don't know. That's how I've always thought about it with Lovecraft. Is like, then their society degenerated, and it's like, yeah, maybe drawing on walls wasn't as making carvings into walls, or art wasn't as much of a big thing, and it changed as it evolved, or But what I wanted to talk about is using elder things in your game, and we've talked about them. They're the 5-sided barrel-shaped Cooper's Dream, starfish-headed, little wingy-ding thick boys that the Dyer Lake expedition found in Antarctica in the 30s, late 20s, early 30s, in Lovecraft's continuity and the Lovecraft mythos. And I think it would be really neat in a Dungeons and Dragons game to have like a functioning Elder Thing city with Shoggoths in tow and stuff like that, as kind of like maybe an invading force on your barbarian campaign or your like standard D&D campaign. And everyone, you're just sent there to find out what's going on, and then maybe later infiltrate a smaller base, and then work your way up to, I don't know, trying to get rid of or find out what they're up to. And who knows what they're up to? Maybe they're up to preserving the planet for future generations of their kind by getting rid of large things like Cthulhu that you don't know about, or getting rid of that pesky Tarrasque that's going to wake up in another 200 years that your people don't know about. Or, and anything like that. They could be benevolent or malevolent. It's the weird thing about alien cultures. They don't think like us, according to people. I don't know. Maybe they do think like us. Maybe they think like us, but more like us than we know.
So I think you sort of hit that one thing that Lovecraft points out.
Uh-huh.
In the Mountain of Madness, that there was some identity. These were explorers. They may be completely alien, but they were explorers. They were adventurers.
Yeah.
So of the alien creatures, they're the ones that in ways identify more with the humans.
Sure.
Psychologically.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't necessarily make them on our side.
Yeah.
But one thing we also know about the Elder Things, they were at war with everybody.
Oh, yeah.
They fight the Yithians,
Yep.
they fight the Migos, they fight the Starspawn.
And probably the flying polyps,
I
too.
definitely see like a... Oh, I'm sorry?
No, I said probably the flying polyps, too.
Yeah, no, because we know the polyps were fighting the Yithians.
Uh-huh.
I suspect they're flying polyps. Basically, the Elder Things make a great quest giver.
Oh, yeah.
They can give intelligence. And so if you're doing, say, a Conan or a D&D campaign, it could be a sort of like, the Oracle, where it sends out like smoke underground so you don't see it. But, you don't know what it is, but it gives you out the missions to fight these other creatures. And if you're doing a Call of Cthulhu Modern or a Delta Dawn, it could be this big, giant, barrel-chested thing with tentacles in a room full of computer monitors.
Sure. Yeah.
So I think they make great quest givers.
Oh, yeah. And they could even, like, picked up some Mego technology along the way and have, like, a proxy human that they use for some reason. Or even maybe some sort of Yithian technology and have one of their members have their minds inside of a human just so that they have kind of like a face man. Or forego all of that and just maybe you have an elder thing that's charismatic enough that it's just like able to talk to people and, you know, it's kind of like their ambassador to humans. And, you know, people go up there and go, oh, wow, they're not monsters. They're just doing things and leaving everyone alone. Maybe they can trade. Maybe they've got technology that's worth trading. And I think that might be an interesting, like, D&D kind of thing. It's like people are like, oh, yeah, there's these amazing craftsmen far, far, far to the north. Don't be surprised when you see them, though. They're some sort of plant creature. And everyone's going to expect, like, a humanoid-looking plant creature. And then there's these barrel things that can hover and manipulate black slime into, like, crushing boulders for them. And drawing things with their mind into walls that, like, somehow communicate insane amounts of information. You know, it's elder things. Their technologies aren't known, but what's left of their civilization is kind of known. And I don't know. I think with these clues, we have all kinds of wonderful things that we can speculate. Make up in our own heads, create our headcanon for our D&D Shadowrun, Boot Hill, I Gamma World, GURPS campaign.
Or, you know, I was thinking, you know, Star Wars or GURPS Space.
Oh, yeah.
You could make the Elder Things, they're this bioengineering race.
Yeah.
So we know they made the Shoggoth.
Mm-hmm.
Why couldn't they make a living spaceship?
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely. And I keep thinking about Star Wars more and more, probably because of the amount of Star Wars I'm consuming on television, about Star Wars in relation to Call of Cthulhu or Dungeons and Dragons, or doing a Call of Cthulhu Star Wars crossover kind of thing and being like, oh, what planet would the Elder Things come from? And, like, how far into the core are they even from, you know, the galactic, the galaxy as we know it. And like, oh, when do you bring in multidimensional creatures? And is that what makes something truly alien when you've got Rancors and Devonians and, you've got all kinds of stuff that's kind of spooky and scary. It's like, well, Mon Calamari, I mean, those guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, when do you realize that something is more than just a Star Wars species? When is it something that's like truly eldritch? And I don't know, I could see the Elder Things just being like treated like an ancient race in a galaxy, as opposed to like in Call of Cthulhu, how they're treated like just like ancient monsters. And you know, humanity hasn't seen anything other than humanity, so it's not going to be like, oh, okay, all right, they're just scientists. So don't worry, guys. And vice versa. I mean, it's like the Elder Things, the only aliens they've ever dealt with have been other hostile aliens. Like, no one's talking about how the Elder Things and the Yithians, like, created a truce that lasted for thousands of years or millions of years, and that's why they're both here. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, one thing is sort of also mentioned that, you know, that they fly on the ether or the solar winds.
Yeah.
But in the Dream House, Dreams of the Witch House.
Yeah.
Gilman gets transported to a planet, if not their planet.
Yeah.
A planet that they colonized.
Yeah, a planet that...
and there's a red and a white and a blue star or a yellow star.
Yeah.
And I think that's sort of interesting that they are, explorers, and that they also have gate magic.
Yeah.
And so you could definitely be part of any type of dimensional game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's interesting. It's like if you take the technologies that the other aliens and the Elder Things have, it's like you have gate magic from the Elder Things and, like, I don't know, ethereal flight, which you could even take into being, like being able to move through a fourth dimension, which I've always taken moving through the ether domain in my own headcanon. And, you've got Shoggoths that, bioengineering, and then you've got, like, mind-swapping technologies, and you can call it magic in your game, but you can also call it technology. There's various things that these alien races have, I don't know, that are considered spells within Call of Cthulhu, but it's pretty crazy stuff.
So I did run up one question. I got one last question.
Oh, sure.
For you. What alignment would you give the Elder Things?
True neutral.
So, yeah, my first thought was true neutral.
Uh-huh.
Maybe neutral lawful.
Okay.
They follow the laws of science.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I think neutral. And Elder Things were one of the first creatures to be made for the D&D.
Oh, okay.
They were part of the deities and demigods. As an example. And I don't have them, so I'm not sure what they were, but I think they were true neutral in that book.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, back when I couldn't use Elder Things, I used Modrons, and just said that they were Elder Things, and that they were not biomechanical, that they were made of flesh, and just various forms of Elder Things. And as a result, I kind of messed up Elder Things for other people, for some people in high school who confused Elder Things and Modrons for some time. But yeah, no, that was my quick little workaround. It's like, oh, there's no Elder Things in D&D, but Modrons could function as Elder Things. That was just something I did.
There's also I don't know if you ever played Torg.
No.
So Torg is this game where Earth is attacked by a bunch of different dimensions.
Okay, cool.
And one of the dimensions that covers up part of the West Coast is basically sort of this dinosaur lizard man dimension.
Uh-huh.
But one of the main creatures, including a player race,
Uh-huh.
is the Stranglers, which are like floating starfish.
Ooh, crazy.
So it's an Elder Thing, but basically without the body.
Nice.
And it could, if they were like enemies or attacking, they could float down and drop tendrils and strangle people.
Cool.
And I always thought that would be sort of cool in a game if the Elder Things could detach their head.
Yeah. I think it would be cool to play Elder Things in a D&D campaign, or even a Call of Cthulhu campaign, but yeah. play a Elder Thing, scientist, or a Elder Thing rogue. But yeah. Do you have anything else on Elder Things, Dave?
Or Elder Thing Warlock?
Ooh, Elder Thing Warlock.
I think we've about covered them.
Okay, cool. Well, Elder Things, consider yourself covered. Eihort, you don't have enough stuff to cover. Everyone, thank you so much for coming and listening to People's Guide to the Cthulhu Mythos. We really appreciate it. You should check out our store. I've got some new t-shirts in there. I've got a Gnarletho t-shirt in there, and a Black Pharaoh's Curse. They look like classic rock band t-shirts, but they're for Gnarletho. I can't say that word right. And we've got a slew of other ones in there. Buying those shirts helps support the show, and maybe one of these days I'll give Dave some money. No, we do get some money from ad sales, which I do kick to Dave once in a while. But I want to give Dave more money for doing such a good job on this show. And I want money so I can upgrade my equipment. All right. Thank you again, everyone. come back next week. We're going to have some more stuff. We really hope you enjoyed the interview. And we really hope you're enjoying the astounding stories of super science that are dropping daily. And if you like those, we can do that again in March. Dave, anything you have to say before we tread off into that spooky dooky
can
night?
you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Anything you want to say before we head off into that night, Dave?
No, it seems like the elder gods of the internet were dragging me away, but I'll see you next week.
All right, we'll see you then, and bye. Can I get it bye, Dave?
Oh, bye.
All right, cool. Sounds like you cut out there for a moment.
Yeah, I did. It started like beeping or something, so I'm not sure what's going on.
Okay.